have you ever promised something to a client that you could not fulfill on?
Yes,
I
absolutely.
think everyone does.
Yeah,
Today we're going to talk about
especially.
a little bit about how to actually set realistic expectations for your clients to so that you lose less of them, so that they get better results, so that they're happier with you, they refer more business, and your agency grows faster. And if you're up for it, Braden, maybe take it away with a little story about an unrealistic expectation you set and the fallout that occurred.
Yeah, I think very early on, like anyone else, you kind of base your service and the pitch of the service off what you see from other
Sure.
people who have way more developed service than you. Um, so naturally, you kind of preach those same
Hmm.
results without fully knowing if you can back them up or not.
Hmm.
And that's just an early mistake that I made where when I first started and I wasn't confident, I could actually, I mean, I was confident I could deliver results, just not to the extent. I kind of
Hmm.
overshot. Um, I felt that I could, but I wasn't able to. So then over time, as I naturally got more and more data
Hmm.
on what we can actually generate, we began to craft more of a much more realistic view
Hmm.
on what we can generate. So instead of maybe saying, hey, we can get what, 8, 10 listings a month in month two. Now I know that's not realistic. I know we're going to start. We might get a listing or two in our first few months. And then afterwards, once the ball's rolling, and we've got a database built up, then we can average around 3 to 5. But I just learned that from doing.
Right. Um, so if I'm like onboarding a new client, how do I set expectations in the first place? How do I actually frame things correctly, so that I don't get a call from them a month later saying you sold me something that's not reality.
I would say keep. I mean, ranges are a good way to portray things, and I think just giving them both angles of it and taking a super realistic
Hmm.
approach. You can't predict the future in business. I can't sit here and say 110% that you're going to get this volume in a month. I just can't. But our average results show X, Y, and Z,
Sure.
and you can show them what a slow client start looks like, what a quick client start looks like, so on and so forth. Um,
You
and
could
I think that's the most
you could
honest.
set some sort of like basic guarantee that something happens though. Like surely
You could set
you can get good enough that you could like guarantee an outcome. Like Amazon can guarantee a delivery date, for example.
Yeah, exactly. I guess I was thinking more big scale, but yeah.
Um, uh, cool. So, um, I think like an easy mistake that everybody makes is when they first start getting clients. They really want to close them. And often this comes from a place of not knowing how to book lots of meetings, not knowing how to get lots of qualified sales calls. And then as a result, you don't have loads of them. So you really care about the percentage, or you basically care about closing as many people that you're talking to as possible. But one of the biggest traps that people fall into is, and some people get stuck in this like all the way up into 100K a month, and they end up with really low profit margin businesses that aren't worth anything, that barely make any money. Um, uh, the team doesn't get paid well. Like it's not a good outcome for anyone, including the clients, and then the company just folds essentially. And like the mistake that people make is they don't set really realistic expectations with the clients on those sales calls, and instead they promise them something that is either impossible to deliver on, or just like comes from a fundamental lack of understanding about business. So the like an easy one is like the classic joke that we make on these calls when we're like, hey, 100K a month, $1 million guaranteed, 4 minutes, no work. And it's like if you're just like brand new to online business, you can go back to a few years ago and you can see offers that people used to run on ads and like on YouTube videos and stuff. And you can see how it's evolved. And like really what's happened over the last 5 years is people have become more and more aggressive with the offers that they're promising and the guarantees that they're promising. This has been driven forward a lot by Alex Hormozy's books, but called primarily $100 million offers that have got really popular that encourage things like the use of guarantees, but don't teach anything about how to actually fulfill on those guarantees and actually make good by them. So people go and implement that in their marketing funnel, and then they start trying to promise. They see someone else running a similar offer and they try to promise something even better. And this just kind of like there's a great take that Charlie Morgan, if you're familiar with him, has where if you try to compete on offer, like you basically compete yourself out of business because the guarantees and the promises get so crazy that it's impossible to fill them. Now, the problem with this stuff and the problem with like setting unrealistic expectations and what it actually stems from is a lack of ability to help somebody to help reframe somebody or help them understand what real value actually is. Um, let's take your business for example, Braden. When you say, "Hey, if you're a realtor, I'm going to sell you these marketing services." Maybe a really good outcome for somebody is actually like two listings a month based on the cost of your service, and they make $10,000 to $15,000 a month, maybe $30,000 a month off of that, and all in they're spending several $1,000s with you. They've got other commissions and fees, etc., but they make like 2 to 3 times their money. And that's actually a really great
Yeah.
outcome. And now they can kind of like double down on their spending and scale up. And for some reason, everybody wants to like go out there and promise like adding millions a year to people's businesses. And these kinds of outcomes are totally possible, but not necessarily even required in order to sell somebody. Um,
Yeah.
so I think the first thing is just understanding like uh uh the businesses that you're serving and how much of an outcome you can even give in the first place, or what like a really good outcome looks like. Because honestly, for a business that's making $50,000 a month, getting them to 80,000 is still a big win. And making enough
Yeah.
improvements to improve things by like 60%, and adding $30,000 a month in revenue and maybe 15,000 in profit and charging three K a month for that is like actually a really great return for a business. So you don't necessarily need to go out there and say, "Hey, we're gonna like triple your revenue in 4 weeks and it's gonna be like such a quick time turnaround." Most business doesn't actually work like that. Um, and it's not actually viable for their businesses, and it's also not believable either. So you often by setting unrealistic expectations, what you're actually doing is you're turning off the really good businesses that would have closed with you and bought your services, and instead attracting the complete wrong people that think that it's I'm just going to do 4 weeks of work and I'm suddenly going to make $1 million. Um, and, and that's not usually things compound over time. Usually you get more skills and you earn equity in things, or you get paid more as a result of the skills that you've built up, and that's not something that happens overnight.
And I think you hit it 100% on the head with it definitely is going to deter the good clients.
Hmm.
It's going to deter them away because they're smart enough to know that that's not achievable. Whereas if you set a realistic expectation, you're kind of doing the exact opposite. You're turning away the clients that expect quick results, that expect $1 million in their first 4 weeks
Hmm.
guaranteed, and instead you're actually attracting the clients who you probably want to attract, which are those higher end
So
ones.
the craziest thing is you attract the wrong clients and they have the wrong expectations. Um, and as a result, they're harder to work with because they haven't experienced this. They don't understand it, which means that they leave sooner, which means that you need to spend more money on marketing and sales. And you have less money to spend on delivering a good product in the first place.
More unstable business, less, higher churn month over month, and yeah, pretty much you can take both
Uh-huh.
roads, but there's obviously one that's much better.
The agencies that are making like 10 to 20 million a year with good margins, not making out like ridiculous claims. They're just like, "Hey, like this is like we just like work hard, like we just like have a good service, and
Yeah.
we're talented and skilled, and we're gonna put the best like our best work into this business, and we're gonna set goals, of course, and maybe there's like basic outcomes that we can kind of promise, but genuinely like in in business and in life, you don't necessarily know the outcome of your inputs. You cannot guarantee that. You cannot guarantee what your revenue is going to be in 12 months. You can project, you can guess, You can aim for things, but we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. And that's like a key philosophical point that you must understand when you're selling to businesses. And you need to help people that don't understand this on a sales call understand and be able to explain why that is the case. And if you can do that, you're going to reframe a lot more people and you're actually going to close more deals. So setting realistic expectations and being more upfront with people is going to help you close way more good deals that stick around for a much longer time. And that's really why you want to set realistic expectations in the first place.
Very
Very
true.
true. So, um, when you're setting expectations now, Braden, how are you framing it to clients? Like, what do you do? What's your process? And also, maybe what do your clients want?
Yeah, well, obviously you want an attractive outcome for them, but you want to make sure they've got realistic expectations on it. So I make it very clear, just the time frame, just because I know how quick we're going to get
Mhm,
launched, when we normally get our first appointment in, how many appointments it takes to get our first listing,
mhm,
when do we get that first listing around, and really setting the proper expectations of like if you're banking on this to like get you a listing and a sale month
uh-huh.
one to continue into month two, you probably shouldn't do this.
Right.
You need to have that runway for 3 months because not only like just with listings and how it works, not only are you going to just get a listing, but you have to then market it and sell it, which normally takes about 45 to 60 days sometimes. So I tell clients that so they know the runway and they know kind of what to expect overall as far as time frame goes.
What about
I lost you for a second.
yeah, I know I'm running around. What about like the actual return a client can get over a 6 month period? Or just generally like what they should be expecting over time.
Yeah, my safe assumption of that is instead of just like giving them a number, I just take the averages from clients and give them to the client that I've just onboarded. I think that's the safest way to do it. I know there's like dependencies based on business to business, so sometimes it might change. If this person's got a lower price point, I may factor for that. If there's just more volume of people in their area, that can also be a factor. So I'll kind of gauge it that way. Um, but normally, I just like to point out a lot of average results for the most part.
That makes sense. What if you don't have clients though? Like what if you're not in that position to be able to do that?
If you don't have clients, as far as setting a realistic expectation, I don't know if you agree on this, but I think you should kind of make it well known that you don't have clients
I agree.
and that this you're learning on.
Yeah,
And sometimes that does mean work for free or work on commission only
sure.
because there might not be a lot of comfort paying someone up front who's got no experience. But I think there's also selling points you can use for your favor. The fact that you're going to have more time specifically for them. You're going to work extremely hard because you want to prove yourself and get a start,
Hmm.
so on and so forth.
Hmm.
But if you have no clients, you don't have to like objectively say right away, I've got no clients. You're going to be my first client.
Sure.
You can try to like walk the walk without with a, you can try to look like you know what you're talking about. But if they do ask, obviously you want to tell them. But I think just setting a clear expectation on time frame is one of the biggest thing.
1000%. Feel like that's pretty snappy.
Is
These are like the main points. Like, it's really not that
I don't
hard.
think it's like a lot.
It's not a lot and
Yeah,
it's not
I
very
don't.
difficult to do. It's really just a mentality switch that you need to have. And
Yeah,
if you get it right, then it's amazing. And if you don't, and most people don't, it just makes business more difficult. And there's not really any
I think
point.
one of the biggest things is a lot of people are so afraid to actually kind of and I think someone who does it very well. I don't know if you're familiar with Jeremy Haynes, but I think he does a great job at really explaining like the negatives. And
Hmm.
in one of his videos before like the call, he actually will sometimes go in and show clients the churn rate
Mm.
and what can go bad. And I think that just that level of transparency
Hmm.
and like what is the worth? How bad can I get screwed on this? And just being super honest with them on all that will definitely increase your close
Hmm.
rate, the expectations of clients when they come in. And this is done in the sales and onboarding process. But I think just a lot of people are super scared to do that because they feel it's going to lower their
Right.
sales. They feel like if they're not seeing with these crazy guarantees, then no one's going to
And
sign up.
ironically, in the video, 2 videos ago, we spoke about how guarantees. are not solutions. They're like cherries on top of a cake. Um,
Yeah.
and actually doing the stuff that we just talked about today will build you a lot more trust with prospects and lead you to
Yeah.
close more. Anyway, awesome. Thanks
Yeah.
for watching.
Take
Bye
care.
bye.
Bye.